Glad to have you back now. Let's head straight to the market now as we begin. The all-share index last week, and of course the market capitalization depreciated by 0.14%. And of course the market capitalization settled at 27.87 trillion naira. All other indices finished lower with the exception of the NGX banking, NGX pension, oil and gas. Have the NGX Lotus indices which appreciated by 0.33%, 0.40, 0.16%, while the NGX ASM and NGX growth indices closed flat. Well, a total turnover of 1.12 billion unit of shares worth about 13.7 billion naira were exchanged hands in about 32,000 deals last week. So investors traded on the floor of the exchange in contrast to a total of around 940.89 million units of shares, which was valued at 11.4 the previous week, which exchanged hands in about 20,000 deals the previous week. Now, the financial services industry, and you also look at other sectors as well, led the activity chart with about 806.82 million units of shares, which was valued about 6.07 billion naira in about 11,000 deals, contributing about 71.9% to the total equity turnover volume and value traded last week. The oil and gas industry followed with about 95.03 million units of shares. You also have the conglomerates there, the goods industry there with a total turnover of about 6.7 million units of shares, worth about 169.5 million. So this, of course, they captured the total activities the previous week. Trading in the top three equities included FCMB Group, you have United Bank for Africa, and you have Oando PLCs representing the oil and gas sector there. But let's quickly look at this week and, of course, the previous week, and to also analyze what to expect this week. I have Mr. Ambrose Amodon, Chief Research Officer, Investor Consulting Limited. He joins me here now. Thank you for your time. Let's look at the market. Of course, we know it's a volatile market. Last week was volatile as well. If you compare that to the previous week, it shows that the previous week was better than last week. But for you, what would you say was responsible for the volatility we witnessed last week? Market decreasing for about 0.14%. Yeah, we can say we can wait for that.
Yeah, I'm happy that you said that the previous is better than the last one. No, if you look at what happened last week, I would say that we'll call it a bear rally. Seeing market move from as low as 50,500 to almost 51,705. For me, it's a good rally, but still a bear rally. But it gives you a sign that investors that are taking advantage of the pullback, that is why I would say bargain hunters are really in charge of the market as at last week. I believe that it will continue this week. As we speak now, you can see that the life of Okomu, Oando, and the Zenith Bank this morning is already up. These are stocks that have suffered losses, especially, Zenith Bank are pulled back, Okomu are pulled back, but that of Oando is just a market sentiment. But market activities last week really reviewed that bargain hunters are really in charge, and also because what we call end of the quarter rebalancing of portfolio is ongoing, because this is the last trading week of the quarter and the same time of the half year. For me, I see that activity is also having an influence on the market, especially price of stocks will likely to go up marginally again this week, so that they can close positive for fund managers to really to have their commission for the end of the quarter. For me, also, as far as the second quarter or half year earnings seasons around the corner, I know that in Nigeria this is the period for interim dividend paying companies to kind of compensate their shareholders. It's a good one for those that have pulled back, so that you can buy more, because I said last time that this was called Naira average investing. If prices are pulled back, you can get more quantity of those stocks, and that at the end of the day it also become more interim dividend for you for the half year. It's a good one, but the good thing is that our market has defied what is happening in global economy. I will tell you that, yes, when you see oil price oscillating like this, people will panicking, but oil price touched as high as $123 recently, pulled back to almost 104 before rebounding again to around 106. For me, this is not showing on our market now, because if you look at the forecast of the World Bank, that yes, as far that oil price remain above $100, oil producing economy should not be struggling much. It's all because here we are there to meet our production, and also the kind of management we're having our economy managers, the way they are doing, if not, would have seen the economy moving faster than what
because
was.
I was going to come to that. Okay, but it should be a plus. But for Nigeria,
I said because our output, we're not meeting our output. No, it's not. We're not meeting our output. OPEC are giving us an output to meet. If we are meeting that, that would have been but as far as also the benchmark price for a budget for 2022 is below what the price is now. It's also a plus. Let's increase our productivity. That is area that when I saw your report that about 15 million liters is being struggled, where we have a customer on the road, we have police on the road, we have military on the road. Where this for me, I tell them, you can't say you have all these men, you have technology they are using, and all such thing we believe in. I see all times it's just for us to distract Nigerians on what to say, because if really we have good economic managers, this will not be an issue for Nigeria.
Okay, let's because I was going to also talk about the fact that what it's working for Nigeria at the moment. Would you say luck? Or I mean, because the global markets, I mean,
I'm not talking about our economy or our markets.
Market first.
Okay,
let's look at the market first. I mean, yes, despite the global issues that is going around, and even within, of course, the Ukraine and Russia impacts on some other economies, yet it seems that Nigeria is exempted from this impact. Largely
exempted.
Why I say that is because if you look at the market year to date, I mean, it's very impressive, doing over 20%. It went as far as over 24% before dropping when we started experiencing a pullback in the market. So what would you say is working for Nigeria? Luck, or would you say just factors, just ordinary factors, given the demand of factors?
No, not really luck, but there are some factors behind what is happening. But if care is not taken, if the right decision are not taken, you don't use because of what is happening on that climate to implement your own. You have to look at your peculiarity of your environment. Policies that will work for your environment, not because Mr. A is increasing interest rate, you jump into not Mr. A is dropping interest rate. No, you should look at what am I trying to achieve in my own territory. What it was before now. We have seen that after the post-COVID-19 experience, most of the companies that they had a kind of distortion in their supply was seeing some improvement that reflected in 2021 financials for most of the company, which also boosted the market at the early of this year. We were seeing also good earnings to manage from quoted companies. We saw good payout. That also supported the price, and also the high cap price. Also, their price also rallied during the period. That was also a problem. See, with all this, the impact on the same market. Also, when Q1 came for 2022, this Q1 also was impressive compared to the previous year, 2021. That price feed on earnings. I will tell you that no matter the market, when price earnings are good, market has to really know, because that will give a signal what will come out at the end of the year, whether you pay good dividends or not. Because you don't give what you don't have. If I'm doing well, I have to reward my shareholders very well. But when we saw the Q1, and that's the first number for the new financial year 2022, that also give investors a clue. Okay, if this number,
and also that investors are using those numbers and earnings to also take position in the market.
Exactly, and that also supported the market. But when we saw the GDP for 2021, the first quarter, we saw a slight decline. As I said, when they had the interest rate up, I was thinking that is it to attract foreign investor or to manage liquidity? Because if you are attracting foreign investor in an environment where we're having a kind of election year, I don't see foreign investor coming to that. But they want you to finish your election first to see that your risk, all those uncertainties that come with the election is reduced before they can come in. That's why when they jacked the interest rate from 11.5 to 13.5, I was surprised almost with 150 points. But now that we're seeing that the economy is already slowing down, price of energies are high, and consumers' purchasing power is also weak. But most of the material companies are able to play around it. But going into future, what will happen is what I just said. Let's see the magic they're going to play between now and the end of third quarter. We have seen that in the month of May, interest rates have moved up. Good. And then that also means that most of the funds have to be renegotiated. Cost of fund is high, and why cost of energy and others are high. At the end of the day, cost of production will be high. And at the end of the day, that means they are working for the cost. Don't forget that we're having a foreign exchange problem already. That as we speak now, foreign exchange and the black market is about almost 610. And tell me, if you are importing anything with that, we are already importing inflation. And that is why I said, no, government has to sit and but if I want to leave, the foreign exchange, black market as the official rate, or because if what I want to buy, I can't get the official rate, the quantity of the dollar I need to buy at official rate, I'll still go and source from the black market. You can see that it's conflicting.
I think the CBN has not even seen a need to start working on a lot of suggestions. I mean, suggestion by some experts that the CBN needs to look the way of unifying the exchange rate. Maybe the CBN has not even considered that, or they have not even come to a point to look at whether that is important for the economy at the moment. But then going forward, let's look at the top 5 gainers for the week. You have the top 5 decliners. NACO is led that category with about more than 80 kobo. In the week, and you also have Champions Bureau, you have MRS, FBN Holdings, and Royal Exchange in that category. Talk to us about these. Do we likely to see this trend being repeated this week, given this impressive movement last week?
Yeah, we're expected to repeat itself this because this is the week most of the players, especially the fund managers, that we will call end of the quarter rebalancing of portfolio. If that is going on, we expect the market to maintain this trend. As I said earlier, that this morning you can see the market is already in green at this hour. It's a good thing, but let's see whether it's sorted at the end of the day. And we're seeing high cap prices like that's Zenith Bank and Okomu among the gainers this morning. If more join in at the end of the day, market is likely to close in green, and that also signal, like I told our followers online, that as far the market is below 51,804, once they cross that point and cross also 52,000, it's time for it to jump to the market fully. That means a new rally has been confirmed. As we speak now, market is slightly below the T line. Until break out that T line, I want to say yes, this is now proper time for it to jump into the market. But at this period, if you're a good investor, like a long-term investor, you really take positions slowly in to see if the market will maintain the uptrend. We saw the 4 days rally for the previous week after Monday pullback. We saw recovery, but yet to cross what I just mentioned, that 51,804 and 52,000 mark. Once it's able to cross it, we're now seeing that a new trend has come.
Give us the picture of where we're coming from in 1 week, and of course the next 1 week. Maybe you need to do that on your chart to see where we were coming from, and then of course to give us a clearer picture of where the market is headed, because this is just about numbers.
Yeah,
and investors may want to play with these numbers as well.
Yeah, actually, if you are looking at the chart now, from this point down, we saw a pullback for 5 days. The market on the south movement before market make another strong U-turn after touching Fibonacci 50% Fibonacci. When market is coming down, you set your technical analysis tools to know exactly when market is likely to rebound. When we set it now, we now use what we call Fibonacci retracement chart to see where, but immediately touch the 50%, it then rebounded. But to speak now, it's still struggling. But once it just crossed, as I said earlier, 51,000 to 52,000 mark, the market now arrived to a new rally that has confirmed. Then it has broken out the word, the T line. That is for the daily chart. But if you look at the weekly chart as we speak now, you like to say that the market is resisting decline on its own. That is why you saw the hammer candlestick pattern here, so that yes, the market is not ready to go down. And that is the market is kind of resisting decline, which is very good for me. It's a good one for the market too, because when you see such thing, it gives traders or investors strength that yes, market said I'm not going down any longer. That means there are further stance or forces behind the market that yes, you can't go. That's why I say bargain hunters are in charge in the market space, because they saw the pullback as an opportunity to buy into value stock at a good price. That's why they're taking position, knowing that this interim dividend season is just around the corner here, and you know that half year result is very, very important to see, because once you see what they can make easily forecast what will happen at the end of the year, knowing that there are some sectors that are able to push the cost of this high cost they are experiencing to their consumers, and also at the end of the day, consumers are still patronizing them. Their numbers will be good. That will also support their earnings, also support their payout. That means such companies should maintain an up target, trend up for that. For at the end of the day, it's a good one for investors to take advantage. But chart has made things easier for us to know that there's no cost for now. But once they cross this 51,804 this morning, it's a sign for you to just jump into your stock.
It's all right. But let's look at the top 5 decliners for last week.
Okay.
Most of them were, small capitalized stocks like CWG PLC. You have RT Briscoe, you have Academy Press in that category. So, and what news do you think will be able to change this trend? For last week, was it just profit taking, or it was just bargain hunting, or the normal negative sentiment for those stocks?
Last week I would say it's just bargain hunting. You saw the price pulling back, people taking position, and because the stock we just mentioned, they are not in category of those stocks that will pay into the dividend, and their numbers are not there to give investor a clue what's happening in the company. They have to keep. That's why I would say that is market forces. As an investor, you are in the market to take advantage of the market, not looking at stock that are not going to deliver. But these stocks, they rally on their own, on the market sentiment, not because of the fundamental of the company. When the RT was going up, it just sentiment and an expectation that somebody is entering the company. Till now, the price has been down. No good number to support the rally. That's why it's still declining. For the computer warehouse group, for me, just market forces for the stock to remain at that level now. That means those that are really taking position are looking at those growth and value stocks that have potential to deliver between now and end of September.
I mean, but have they really perhaps done anything that may bring investors' attention or perhaps appetite? So when last did they declare dividends, and how impressive are those dividends?
The top two you just mentioned, the dividends have not come for the past 5 years. That should not attract investors. When you saw this kind of, when we see this kind of stock moving, or saw them moving last time, it's just market sentiment that was moving and market forces, not because of substantial thing coming from the company. That's why I said now investors are targeting growth stock and value stock that will deliver value, especially those interim dividend paying stocks that have suffered losses recently. That's where they are putting their money now. And don't forget also, as we're crossing into the month of July, we'll be expecting to see the inflation figure for the month of May, and I'll tell you that it will maintain the kind of trend we saw in the month of May. And tell you that in May we're already talking about 17.71. That means in the month of for June, expect around the 18.5.
And that is even headline inflation. I mean, we've not even talked about food inflation.
Yes, if that one hit 18.5, because the way it's going, to cross 18, almost 18.5. If that happen, even those fixed income that they are returning at 13% for a whole year, you see it to be shaking. That's why for now, those that are designed are looking at real estate, at the same time looking at stock, which company in this market were able to keep returning above inflation figure, especially when it comes to their dividend payout and capital appreciation. That is how to edge against inflation. But if you are putting your money in those fixed income instruments, yes, we know that those instruments are wide. They can accept any volume of money that will come, but at your own risk. Because at the end of the day, the money you have put there will lose value, because inflation keep on rising. That's why for you to edge against, we must go to what will move you ahead of inflation to preserve your
I think
capital.
we should wrap it up with this. What to expect this week? What are some of the factors or sentiment that may likely shape the week? Of course, the month is wrapping up in the next few days, or the quarter, and that's wrap up the quarter as well.
Yeah, that's what I said. For this week, because of window dressing, or call it portfolio rebalancing, in any language you want to use it, that will support the market, saying that the bargain hunters are still in charge. And don't forget that these fund managers or the institutional players, they manage funds for big companies. For that, they want to end the quarter positive, and they don't want to wait for that. They will see that prices of stocks move between now and the last trading day of the month of June, knowing that this is the end of the quarter, as we just mentioned, end of the month and end of the half year. You see, almost 30 things at one time: end of the month, end of the quarter, and end of the half year. For that, if you want to take position, my position from first half of the year, where am I? My position for the quarter, where am I? My position for the month, where am I? These are factors that are likely to kind of have influence on equity prices between now. Also, if other positive information come from other regulators, come from any company, but don't forget that when market is correcting, there are small spikes in different individual stocks that has a positive information. For me, investors should not panic. Rather, take informed decision by playing with your what, have your investment objective, have your entry and exit strategy. Don't play with your stop loss.
Have your entry and exit strategy. That's where a place to leave it there. Thank you so much, Mr. Ambrose Omodion, Chief Research Officer, Investor Consulting Limited. We appreciate your time on Business Breakfast.
Thanks for having me.
You're watching Business Breakfast. We'll take a moment, and after the break, look at Nigerian's government currently spent over 600 naira as subsidy on every liter of petrol consumed. Well, we'll bring you details in a moment. Please stay with us.